Of the abortion rights question could appear on the Missouri statewide ballot next year. A St. Louis area Republican filed new petitions adding exceptions to Missouri's abortion ban, one of the most restrictive in the country. Missouri Capitol Bureau Chief Joe McClain spoke with the conservative activists who filed those petitions.
These new ballot questions propose a sort of middle ground to the abortion question. It would still be illegal in the state of Missouri, but it would also come with a lot of exceptions that have been talked about for years. Still, this is an issue where a lot of voters think there's no room for a middle ground.
6 new versions of an abortion rights question were filed with the Secretary of State's office Wednesday, which would change Missouri's abortion law in 2 ways. First, it would add exceptions to the abortion ban for cases of rape, incest, fatal abnormality of the fetus, and as a means of saving the mother's life. It would also prevent the state from criminally punishing anyone who gets, performs, or helps someone get an abortion, in or out of the state.
The current law runs completely afoul of public opinion.
Longtime Republican operative Jamie Corley formed the Missouri Women and Family Research Fund this summer. She's the one who filed the new petitions. Still, though, many abortion rights activists say their core opposition is to the government deciding when an abortion is appropriate instead of an individual's doctor. The president of Planned Parenthood's St. Louis and Southwest Missouri chapter released a statement saying, "As a healthcare provider and the last abortion provider in the state, we know the consequences of abortion bans and restrictions. Exceptions have never provided meaningful access. While some are proposing ballot measures that will continue to harm Missourians, we will continue to fight for meaningful access that Missourians need." Corley says these petitions are designed to be passable and to help Missouri move closer to a consensus.
We put together initiatives that there is a pathway to passage and something that voters we think will overwhelmingly approve if given the opportunity to vote at the ballot box.
Notably, polling from last year indicates that Missouri's likely voters overwhelmingly support these exceptions to the abortion ban, while only about a third support ending government restriction altogether, largely cutting along party lines. In Jefferson City, Joe McClain, First Alert 4.
In order to get placed on the November 2024 ballot, the petition must receive 170,000 signatures by early May. There are other petitions circulating in the state, including one granting Missourians full abortion rights.